Hello, this is Adrienne with Hamilton Homestead. Welcome back. In my kitchen today, French cuisine is going to be transformed into homestead cuisine. And oh boy, I already know how it turned out. And you should too, because you know I won't share a recipe unless I think it's delicious. Beef cooked in red wine for a very long time with carrots, onions, lots of butter and herbs. Yes, a delicious dish that is traditional in French cuisine, beef bourguignon. But I'm not going to use beef. I'm going to use the best ingredients I have, I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. Beef bourguignon is a superb dish, but I'm going to use venison instead of beef. And I might use a couple other things that might surprise you too. Look at this venison. It's beautifully trimmed, and this package is nearly 2 pounds. I've shared before that I season in layers when making this sort of dish, and my starting point for adding salt to protein is 1 teaspoon of salt per pound of protein. And that salt is added directly to the protein before it's cooked. That's layer 1. I'm going to go just a little light and use 1 teaspoon of salt because this sauerkraut that I'm adding also has salt. And bacon is going to be used a little down the road too, so, that's salty. I don't want to over-season this venison with salt or herbs. I want to use just enough of both to enhance the venison flavor and not cover it up. We can always add a little salt down the road if we need to. So I've added 1 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 cup fermented sauerkraut, 3 cloves of minced garlic, and a good bit of black pepper. Give that a stir and put it in the refrigerator for a couple of hours. This will give the lactic acid in the sauerkraut time to tenderize the venison just a bit. Now, you won't taste sauerkraut in the final dish, but it does impart a subtle, bright flavor that you can't quite put your finger on. Now, I could use a package of my previously made and frozen umami mushrooms or that mushroom onion celery medley, but I have these fresh mushrooms in my refrigerator and they need to be used. And I know as you watch me here wash my mushrooms, I know some people don't wash mushrooms, but I do. It's a me thing. I wash everything. I'm also going to use a little celery, and these are the carrots I grew this year, red, yellow, and orange. They're going to add lots of color and flavor. Oh, and yes, we need to use the yellow onion. As you can probably tell, I'm doing a voiceover for this video, and that's because I've got the absolute best Christmas playlist blaring in the kitchen. The washer and dryer are both running, and I'm rocking through multiple things throughout the house while I put this dish together. So this voiceover is necessary. Also, I should mention that my friend Krista from Almost a Green Acre suggested that I talk about what I'm doing more and explain things a little better. So I'm giving that a try, and you let me know what you think in the comments. I really appreciate getting comments and suggestions. I'm obviously not a professional speaker or a videographer, and if you've watched a few of my videos, you probably noticed that I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. But I'm moving out of my comfort zone, and your feedback and suggestions in the comments is very encouraging and helps me improve. So please don't be shy. Leave me a comment if you have questions or suggestions that would help me improve my content. And I'm sure you already know, but subscribing to my channel lets YouTube know that they should start promoting my channel. So please subscribe if you haven't yet, and thank you. Okay, a fresh out of the oven loaf of bread would be pretty darn good with this venison bourguignon. I'm going to make my hybrid style baguette that's a little bit French and a little bit Italian. A Fretalian baguette, as I like to call it. The crust is golden brown and the interior is soft, slightly chewy, and a little bit dense. I'll leave a link in the video description if you'd like the full recipe. So, I've mentioned egg wash in many of my videos, but never really talked about it. So why is egg wash important? For me, it's all about texture, and it makes a big difference in the appearance. A nice egg wash, don't slop it on there, not too much, creates a crisp surface that enhances the appearance and the taste. Egg wash makes the final product look more professional, a bit crispier, and sometimes it acts as a binder or even a glue. It's really a great way to put an exclamation point on your work. I use 1 egg, 2 tablespoons cold water, and a 1/4 teaspoon salt. The salt adds flavor, but because it's grainy, it also helps to easily mix the egg white and the yolk together. And I use this egg wash on savory breads like my tranzoni and this baguette, but also on pies and cinnamon rolls. It's very versatile. break time. The turkeys are stopping by, and I notice that the toms are strutting their stuff. I don't really know very much about turkeys, and I haven't seen these toms strut very much, but I'm sure it's a courtship dance. They come by every morning and afternoon, and they're so beautiful and fun to watch. Okay, we're making a dish loosely based on French cuisine, so I pulled out all the stops, and this is my mise en place for this fine homestead cuisine. Mise en place is a fancy French term for getting all the ingredients you need staged and the setup ready to go. In professional kitchens, this is very important, but applied in my home kitchen, it has saved my bacon a few times, and it's kind of fun. You put on an apron and confidently make your dish because you're the head chef, and the sous chef, also you, has done a superb job of getting everything ready. Okay, so I paused the music briefly because the sound of bacon frying is second only to the smell of bacon frying. Okay, let's get going. So, brown the bacon and remove from the pan, leaving the bacon fat in the pan. Then I'm going to add the venison and lightly brown. Now remember, there's fresh garlic in the venison, so don't over brown it and scorch the garlic or it will impart a bitter flavor. Then I'm going to remove the venison and add the carrots and the celery. You only need to heat the carrots and the celery. Don't worry about cooking them at this point. Then add the mushrooms and onions, and again, just sear until hot. Now, I have a beautiful fond developing, which is the flavorful solid bits of food stuck in the pan. Always, always, always deglaze this fond before it burns by adding a small amount of liquid and scraping the bottom of the pan. There is amazing flavor in the fond, and it will take your sauces and gravies and broths and stocks to a whole new level of yummy. And yes, the word fond is a French term because we have a theme going on here. I used 2 cups of venison stock to deglaze this pan and finish the dish. However, if you don't have venison stock, use beef stock. And I really love cooking with herbs, and lots of them, not only for flavor, but also because of their health benefits. But in this dish, I'm going to go light with 1 teaspoon each of ground thyme and rosemary and a couple of bay leaves, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste and 2 teaspoons of beef base, or you could use bouillon, will add depth and rich flavor. The rest of the venison stock goes in, and 3/4 of a cup of red wine, which in the commercial kitchen and French cuisine takes this dish from stew to a bourguignon. In my kitchen, it's a savory venison stew. After the venison stew simmers on medium-low for a couple hours, it's time to prep the potatoes. I cut the potatoes in 1-inch chunks and spray liberally with avocado oil, then season with salt, pepper, oregano, and paprika. Roast in a 400-degree oven for 35 to 40 minutes or until golden brown and delicious. The size of your cut potatoes largely determines how long this will take, but check the potatoes after 30 minutes. The stew is happily stewing away on low heat and can wait until the potatoes are perfectly crisp on the outside and creamy on the inside. One more taste test to see if I need to adjust the seasoning, and for me, I added another teaspoon of salt. And then just before the potatoes are done, I'm going to mix 1/3 of a cup softened butter with 1/3 of a cup flour. Then add it to the venison stew and stir. It will thicken pretty quickly, and the butter adds a silky texture and wonderful flavor. And from here I say thank you for joining me today. No more talking or explaining is needed.